We welcome you into Hooker Field in Martinsville, Virginia, as the Martinsville Mustangs are set to host the Point-Thomasville HiToms on this Monday evening matchup that both teams desperately need. The Mustangs coming in at 15-20, 5-9 in the second half. HiToms 14-22, 6-8 in the second half. Just 2.5 games out of first place in the West Division. Welcome into the broadcast. I'm Adam Oppenheim alongside AJ Myers. AJ, it's been a similar storyline when the HiToms have faced these teams like the Mustangs and the Zookeepers and the Bigfoots about needing to win the West Division for a playoff berth.
All these games from here on out are vital for the HiToms. They don't have to win every game because they're getting actually some help from the likes of the Bacon, the Blowfish, who are losing some games, and we all thought the Blowfish were going to run away with the West in this second half, but they've stumbled a little, and they're currently tied with the Bacon for a top spot. And the HiToms, as you alluded to, only 2.5 games out. The season's not over yet.
No team is mathematically eliminated in the West Division in the second half, although Martinsville is in a bit of a rut. 5-9 is the bottom of the West Division. Now for the HiToms, AJ, what are some of your keys tonight?
Well, definitely for the HiToms, and I think the problem when they've lost games this year is they've given up big innings. We saw it against the Wilson Toms. They gave up 2 huge innings where they gave up 5 runs, or even innings where it's like 3 or 4 runs. Giving up a run in an inning is not the end of the world. They just got to maintain the damage and make sure one inning doesn't spiral out and ultimately lose the game for them.
Yeah, absolutely, and facing the Mustangs so many times, you know, it's a very similar scenario, so we'll see how it plays out today. A pair of teams that are looking for the West Division to get the second playoff spot after the Forest City Owls won the first half with a record of 14-8. HiToms finished 8-14 in the first half. Mustangs finished 9-12. So we'll take a quick pause for the starting lineups in the national anthem, and we'll be right back. And we'll tell you the starting lineups right after this from Hooker Field in Martinsville, Virginia. It's the HiToms and the Mustangs, and it's coming up next on HiToms Radio. Welcome back into Hooker Field. in Martinsville, Virginia. About set to get started between the HiToms and the Mustangs. Both teams under 500, and this could really sway the standings. With the Martinsville win, they would be tied with the HiToms. With the HiToms win, they'd just be one game under 500 in the second half, AJ.
It's crazy to think that, Adam, and that's just kind of the way the CPL works out with two halves of the division. It really gives your team a second chance, and that's what the HiToms needed after a poor first half, and they're right in the thick of it in this second half.
It's really a big game for both teams. And first, let's get you the visiting lineup for the Point-Thomasville HiToms. Leading off is going to be Kane Kepley. Following him is going to be Rowan Watt. Hitting third's Austin Deering. 4-5-6 goes as Aaron Jack Spike, Juan Correa. J.D. Suarez will hit 7th. Following him will be Josh Davis, and Andrew Fernandez rounds out the lineup. And they're going to be facing the right-hander, Max Marakovich from Sydney, Australia, and pitches at Arkansas Monticello, who's 1-0 on the year with a 7 ERA, but it's in only 3 games and 2 starts, so this will be his 3rd start of the year. He's pitched 9 innings total, has Marakovich. And in his last appearance against the Zookeepers on July 17th, 1 week ago today, it was his best appearance, AJ, going 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and 1 walk and 5 strikeouts, and looking to do the same today against the HiToms.
Yeah, the HiToms have come up against some really tough and strong pitchers in recent games, so it will continue today.
So Kane Kepley is set in the left-handed batter's box, just about. And now he strolls in and is ready to take the first pitch. And it's in for a strike from Marakovich. We're behind the HiToms dugout currently, down the third base line. It's not a great view of inside or outside. Here's the next pitch. That one's low. It's 1-1 on Kane Kepley. He's been one of the best hitters in the CPL. Been hovering right around 345, 350 for quite a few games now. The 1-1 pitch. It's taken high and away. It's 2-1. Marakovich's 2-1 pitch. It's hit on the ground up the middle. Doc Daniels not able to make the stop at second base, and it goes just into the outfield enough. And Kane Kepley's on with a leadoff base hit on a ground ball up the middle. That looked like it was deflected by the second baseman, Doc Daniels.
It's exactly what Kane Kepley does. He's done it all year. Get aboard early in that leadoff spot. And thankfully for the HiToms, in recent games, really, they've been able to get him home. And when they are, it's usually when they win games.
So here is Rowan Watt up next, whose average has been climbing, currently sitting at 323, and Kane Kepley's aboard at first. Rowan Watt takes the first pitch high, ball 1. Kane Kepley has 19 stolen bases on the year, which leads the team by a wide margin. So 1-0 against Watt, and a toss over to Kepley at first base, who's back in time. We'll go around the infield for the Mustangs from third to first. Reese Robin at the hot corner. Carter Durigi at short. Doc Daniels at second base, and Drew Needham at first. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Watt. It's way inside. It's 2-0. And in the outfield from left to right, John Boy Rinhouse is in left field. Adam Fallon's in center. Lucas Carmichael's in right field. Behind the dish is the former HiTom Bo Ruscher, and on the mound, Max Marakovich from Sydney, Australia. And his 2-0 pitch is high. It's 3-0. On Rowan Watt after Kane Kepley got aboard with a leadoff single. Both teams in desperate need of the win coming down the stretch of the second half. 3-0 pitch. Sticking on the inside corner for a strike, so it's 3-1 on Rowan Watt. Marakovich currently pitches at Louisiana Monroe. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Watt. It's way high. Ball 4, and the first 2 have reached for the HiToms. Kepley is aboard by a single, and Rowan Watt walks.
And Marakovic from Australia is a pretty interesting story. Not too often you face guys all the way from Australia, and also he knows the slopes pretty well too. Does some skiing and snowboarding.
Here's Austin Deering. So that pitch is high and away, ball one, and Rusher will call time and meet with his pitcher, Marakovic, who pitched 3 innings recently at Louisiana Monroe, but transferred the year before. And after the 2022 spring season, he was from McCook Community College. 6'3", 175 pounds. And he's got some great flow on the mound as well. So it's 1-0 on Austin Deering. First and second no outs for the HiToms to start here at Hooker Field in Martinsville, Virginia. 1-0 pitch to Austin Deering. It's taken way high again. It's 2-0. And Marakovic has not been able to find the zone here early. Deering leads the team in average, hitting .361, and is now ahead 2-0. Marakovic's 2-0 pitch. It's outside on a fastball. It's 3-0 on Austin Deering.
And that .361 batting average for Deering also leads the West Division. So he's showing why he's been an all-star this year.
And his average has been climbing after the all-star break. In the last 3 weeks, it's gone from a little over 300 to the 360s. So that pitch is taken low. Ball 4, and it's back-to-back walks allowed by Marakovic. That time it was a 4-pitch walk to Deering. It was a 5-pitch walk to Watt before, and the HiToms have a glorious start here in the top of the first.
A glorious start they're going to need to take advantage of. Even though it's only the first inning, bases loaded situation, you got to tack on at least 2 runs, you'd think, for the Tommies.
And Martinsville will bring out their coach to the mound. And Marakovic hasn't really struggled at the beginning of games like this so far, where it was Kane Kepley getting aboard with a leadoff hit up the middle, and then 2 really non-competitive bats that favor the HiToms.
And right now, head coach Sean Stevens just having a chat with Josh Karen, so obviously he's seeing something that he wants to share to his man at bat.
And maybe it's about waiting for a strike, because Marakovic has just not been able to find the zone. And it's not like he's been a particularly wild pitcher. Coming into this game, 9 strikeouts, 6 walks in his 9 innings. So it's been less than a walk inning, and so far he has 2 in the first. So like you mentioned, AJ, it brings up Josh Karen. Marakovic still on the mound. In the top of the first, Kane Kepley's on third base, who led the game off with a single. Watts on second, and Austin Deering's on first, who both walked. Bases loaded, no outs. Top of the first, no score. Throw over to first, Austin Deering. It nearly gets by the first baseman, Drew Needham. But he keeps it just a couple feet away from the bag as Marakovic was trying to throw behind Deering at first base. No score, no outs. And here's Marakovic's first pitch to Karen. The pitch is away, ball 1. And talk about a confidence booster if you're the HiToms, having the bases loaded right here. 1-0 on Karen. The pitch. It's in for a strike. Catches the outside corner. It's 1-1.
It's exactly that. You'd want HPT to bounce back after their difficult 13-3 defeat to the Wilson Toms over the weekend.
And Max Marakovic now working back out of the windup with the bases loaded. 1-1. Catches the bottom of the zone. Strike 2. It's 1-2 on the Nebraska catcher, Josh Karen, who is the DH today. The HiToms have 3 catchers in their lineup who have been behind the plate for HPT this year. 1-2 to Karen. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 out ahead on the breaking ball. And there's a big first down the inning for Max Marakovic. Here's Jack Spike. Bases low now, 1 out, no score, top of the first. First pitch is in the turf. blocked nicely by Ruscher. So it's 1-0. Kepley still at third. Rowan Watts at second. Austin Deering's at first in the top of the first. And it brings up the right-hander, Jack Spike, although he sometimes hits lefty in batting practice. Marakovich, a 1-1 pitch. It's low and inside. It's 2-0. And once again, falling behind a HiToms player is Marakovich. 2-0 with 1 out. Shakes off a couple of signs from Ruscher. 2-0 pitch. It's on the corner for a strike. On the outside corner on a fastball. So it's 2-1 on Jack Spike. HiToms a hit and 2 walks, have the bases loaded with 1 out. 2-1 pitch, fouled off down the first base line and out of play, launched over the bleachers. At Martinsville, they have bleachers on the first base, third base side, behind home plate, and everywhere in between those areas, AJ. The count's even on Spike. Marakovich's 2-2 pitch. It's in the turf, scooped nicely by Ruscher, but the count is full with 1 out and nowhere to put Jack Spike. Full count. Chopped on the ground. It will be Durigi charging, throwing to first. In time to get Spike as Kepley comes in to score. It's a 6-3 RBI ground out for Jack Spike. And the HiToms take an early lead, 1-0.
Well, now with 2 outs, the HiToms still have men in scoring position. And as I alluded to earlier, you'd love to get another run in.
And it looks like it will be up to Juan Correa with 2 outs in the top of the first. Rowan Watt advances to third and Austin Deering to second on a softly hit ground ball to Durigi, the shortstop. Correa takes the first pitch high. It's 1-0. But like you mentioned, bases loaded, no outs. If Martinsville only gives up 1 run, they're going to be certainly happy about that effort. Marakovich is 1-0. It's low.
Last time Juan Correa came up against these Mustangs, he went 4 for 4, had 3 RBIs and a home run.
Trying to continue to be a Martinsville killer is Juan Correa. 2-0 pitch. It's taken low, and Correa's ahead 3-0. But first base is open for Marakovich. HiToms using some of their blue bats they were received from the Tobs just a couple games ago. 3-0 pitch right down the middle. It's 3-1 on Juan Correa. Second and third, 2 outs for the Tommies. 3-1 to Correa. Fouled off and back into the netting off a hop. So from 3-0, it's now a full count on Correa. Some tense moments here in the top of the first. HiToms looking to add some insurance. They've grabbed 1 in this inning. And Marakovich will deliver his full count pitch. It's low, ball 4. And the bases are again loaded for the HiToms on the third walk of the inning from Max Marakovich.
Now the base is loaded for the second time this inning. This bottom of the HiToms order needs to get some runs in, even with 2 outs.
So the line has been pushed down to J.D. Suarez, who's hitting 7th for the HiToms today and playing shortstop. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Max Marakovich out of the windup in his first delivery. It's line into left field. It's a base hit. It will score. Watt Deering's going to be waved around. The throw will be cut off. It's a 2 RBI single from J.D. Suarez, and it puts the HiToms up 3-0.
Perfect swing from J.D. Suarez, exactly what the HiToms were looking for. They go up 3-0 in the top of the first.
A line drive went right over the left side of the infield, and no play could be made at home. As with 2 outs, both the runners were on the move on contact. And Marakovich has paid for those 3 free passes. And it's now first and second with 2 outs for Josh Davis. Marakovich looking to bounce back. First pitch to Davis. It's a strike on the inside corner. 0-1 on Josh Davis. The next delivery. Breaking ball, Davis couldn't pull the trigger. It's 0-2. With 2 outs and the top of the first, an RBI ground out from Jack Spike and a 2 RBI single from J.D. Suarez have put the HiToms on the board, up 3-0. Marakovich takes a look back at second. Delivers to Davis. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him to chase below the zone, and that will retire the side. But the HiToms go through 8 out of the 9 in their lineup, including a 2 RBI single by J.D. Suarez. HiToms lead 3-0 as we go into the bottom of the first. Just getting started here at Hooker Field between the HiToms and the Mustangs. You're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Back here in Martinsville, Virginia at Hooker Field. HiToms scored 3 in the top of the first to get us started. A Jack Spike RBI ground out and a 2 RBI single from J.D. Suarez gives the HiToms starting pitcher Will Gervais a 3-run lead to start. Gervais, the 6'8" left-handed pitcher who will be transferring to Wake Forest in the spring, but recently pitched at Pitt Community College, where he appeared in 5 games with 3 starts and had a 3.07 ERA. And is set to face the lefty Carter DeRiggi, who plays at Butler. So a lefty-lefty matchup. Gervais' first pitch, it's hit on the ground to the shortstop Suarez. Fields it off a couple of hops onto first in time. Quick 6-3 putout on the first pitch for Gervais. Adam Fallon's going to be up next, followed by Drew Needham. And the cleanup spot's going to be John Boy Rinhouse, who's been on fire as of late. Lucas Carmichael will hit 5th. Bo Ruscher will hit 6th. Is the first pitch in to Fallon's. A strike on the lower portion of the zone. 7, 8, 9 is Ian Francis, Reese Robinette, and Doc Daniels, who will be facing the big lefty, Will Gervais, who's up 0-1. Here's the next pitch. It's away. It's 1-1. The tallest player that's been on the HiToms roster so far is Will Gervais, and on the mound creeps a little bit closer to the hitter. 1-1 pitch. It's lined down the third base line, but foul. And right into the HiToms bullpen.
Mustangs coming off a closely contested affair on Saturday against the Chili Peppers. They fell 8-7 here at Hooker Field.
It's 1-2 on Fallon. Gervais delivers outside. It's even at 2. Two pitch. rides outside, and the count is full on Adam Fallon, the center fielder. Martinsville looking to answer after the HiToms scored 3 in the top of the first. Full count pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Got an ugly swing from Fallon outside of the zone. And 2 up, 2 down for Gervais. Drew Needham, who plays at Western Carolina, is up next in the order and takes the first pitch inside, does the lefty Needham. Jack Spike, who had an RBI back in the first on the ground out, also plays his collegiate ball at Western Carolina. So teammates reuniting a little bit. As that pitch is inside, it's 2-0. Two and 0 with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. HiToms lead 3-0. Gervais is 2-0. Misses a little bit away and possibly high. The count is in Needham's favor, up 3-0. 3-0 pitch. Misses away, and it's a 4-pitch walk. So after retiring the first 2, Gervais walks Needham on 4 pitches. Well, Gervais, this will be his 4th appearance, his 2nd game started. His last time out against the Mustangs, he went 3 innings pitched, allowed 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And his only win or loss of the year was the last game against Martinsville. So 1-0 on the year with a 3.17 ERA. And it's set to face John Boy Rittenhouse, who's been one of the hottest hitters in the Coastal Plain League. First pitch into Rittenhouse. It's high, ball 1. He won Player of the Week in the CPL. Rather, Batter of the Week. And between July 10th and July 16th, he hit 7 home runs. 1-0 pitch to Rittenhouse. It's fouled back.
Those 7 long balls have got his home run total up to 12, and that understandably leads the team.
Yeah, in his past 9 games, he also has 9 home runs, including a home run in each of his last 2 games, 1 each against both games against the Chili Peppers. Gervais a toss over to first. Correa has to grab it off a bounce in the turf, but luckily Gervais didn't toss it too hard, with Drew Needham at first base.
And also last time out against the HiToms, Rittenhouse had a home run as well, so he can definitely hit the long ball.
He leads the CPL in home runs. But it's been a really hot stretch for him, and the HiToms looking to avoid the barrel here. Here at Hooker Field, it's 330 to the right and left field foul poles, about 365 to the left and right center gaps, and straight away is 400 feet. The next pitch, it's outside, it's 2-1. With 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Gervais stares down Needham, 2-1 delivery, fouled back into the netting by Rittenhouse. So it's 2-2 on John Boy Rittenhouse with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. The 2-2 pitches. Needham takes off, pitches outside, throw down a second. Not going to be in time. Rowan Watt makes a leaping hop to keep it from going into center field, but Needham steals a base. And we'll give you the HiToms defense, starting off in the outfield from left to right. Jack Spike in left, Kane Kepley in center field, Austin Deering in right field. At third base is Andrew Fernandez. J.D. Suarez is at shortstop. Rowan Watts at second. Juan Correa is doing the job at first base. Josh Davis is behind the plate. And it's set to catch. The full count pitch from Gervais is way outside him, past Davis. So Needham's going to advance to third, and Rittenhouse is going to walk. So it's runners on the corners with 2 outs. And Martinsville looking to answer the HiToms 3-run inning.
At the start of this inning, it didn't look as though they would answer with the 2 quick outs, with the 2 following batters able to reach base. And out comes HiToms pitching coach Eric Owens to have a chat with Gervais.
Gervais coming in, had 5 walks and 5 strikeouts, and now back-to-back walks. It's a very similar storyline that we saw with Max Marakovich in the top of the first after he walked 3 batters, and the HiToms ended up taking advantage. And we shall see how the Mustangs.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Gervais is he's got 2 outs to work with. He only needs 1 more, and this bottom of the order isn't anything too threatening for Martinsville.
So Eric Owen on his way back to the dugout, and Lucas Carmichael steps in the lefty's batter's box right at the back of it. With 2 outs in the bottom of the first. First pitch to Carmichael's inside, ball 1. Not too many clouds in the sky. Pretty clear sky here in Martinsville, Virginia. 84 degrees with only a couple miles per hour of wind. The 1-0 pitch just misses inside. It's 2-0 with 2 outs. Needham's at third base. Rinhouse is at first with 2 outs. The lefty delivers the 2-0. It's in for a strike on the upper part of the zone. Two-one pitch as Rinhouse takes off. There will be no throw down to second base. So the Mustangs have 2 in scoring position, and Lucas Carmichael's up 3-1 against Gervais. Gervais out of the stretch, 3-1 pitch. It's fired in on the upper inside part of the plate, strike 2, as Carmichael points to his bat to the home plate umpire as he started to take off his pads on his shins. Full count pitch, fouled off and behind home plate. So a full count with 2 outs and second and third for Martinsville. HiToms up 3-0. An RBI ground out from Jack Spike and a 2 RBI single from J.D. Suarez. Both these teams looking to go on a run in the second half. Full count pitch. It's outside and away from Josh Davis. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And it's the former HiTom, Bo Ruscher, who started off his season with the HiToms for about a month, AJ.
Yeah, and then since he's joined the Mustangs, he's been in the lineup almost every game.
And takes a smile back at Josh Davis there. The 2 catchers reuniting once again. Ruscher's first pitch. Inside, ball 1.
This will be Ruscher's 13th game for Martinsville, so since he's joined, he's been pretty good fixture. He's also had some time at first base, too. That's where he was the last 2 outings.
1-0 pitch to Ruscher. The pitch misses away. It's 2-0. Needham's at third base. Rinhouse is at second. Carmichael's at first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. And Ruscher's up 2-0. Gervais's pitch misses high and inside, and it's 3-0 with nowhere to put Ruscher. Some early trouble for both starting pitchers. 3-0 pitch, gotta have it, and it's in for a strike on the outside corner. There's been 3 walks in the bottom of the first. It was 3 in the top of the first. 3-1 pitch. Misses just low with a fastball, and a run has been walked in, and it's the 4th walk of the inning that Gervais has surrendered as Needham comes in to score, and Ruscher gets the RBI.
Since Gervais faced Needham, he's just completely lost his rhythm. He got those 2 quick outs for DeRiggi and Fallon, And then since then, it's gone downhill, unfortunately, for Gervais.
Yeah, first 2 outs are recorded, then 4 straight walks. Here's Ian Francis. Will be the designated hitter today. It's off the glove of Gervais on the first pitch. J.D. Suarez charges, throws on to first, in time. Oh, what a play from J.D. Just doing the job. J.D. Suarez picks up a grounder off after it hit off Will Gervais's glove, and it gets the HiToms out of the inning. Mustangs strand 3, get 1 run across on a walk. 3-1, the HiToms still lead as we head into the second. You're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Andrew Fernandez will lead off the top of the second for the HiToms. We're currently up 3-1, and Fernandez takes the first pitch. High and tight, ball 1 from Max Marakovich, who struggled in the top of the first, allowing 3 walks and 2 hits. Next pitch in Andrew Fernandez is a strike, and J.D. Suarez has done the job so far. It was a 2 RBI single in the top of the first. And then it was a great defensive play in the bottom of the inning. It's the 1-1 pitch. It's outside, ball 2. It was a line drive that hit off the glove of Gervais from Ian Francis. And J.D. Suarez was able to field and fire to first with the bases loaded to allow the HiToms to just surrender the 1 run as that's fouled back by Fernandez. It's 2-2. 2-2 on Fernandez. Marakovich's pitch, it's low, it's 3-2. And AJ, we've seen some fantastic defensive plays for the HiToms as of late.
Definitely against the Toms, Rowan Watt had a brilliant play out in right field where he was able to get an out. And then J.D. Suarez, I don't know if it matches it, but it's right up there.
Full count pitch, it's outside, ball 4. And Fernandez is aboard with a leadoff walk. Yeah, certainly the importance of that J.D. Suarez play was stranding the bases loaded. Otherwise, that would have been at least a run, and the inning would have kept on rolling along. It was a Rowan Watt play that was hit into deep right field that he spun and threw on a line to second base off a hop. And I asked Rowan about that earlier, and he was like, I was just trying to throw it towards second base, but couldn't really see until it landed in the glove of Suarez. So it's the top of the lineup now up for the HiToms, and Kane Kepley takes the first pitch on a fastball high. It's 1-0. 4 walks so far for Marakovich. Not the start he was looking for. The right-hander. Now it's to his catcher, 1-0 pitch. It's high and away, and he's missed by a good bit, AJ.
Yeah, it's been a difficult start for Marakovich finding that strike zone. And fortunately for the HiToms, they have benefited.
Only 6 walks and 9 innings coming in for Marakovich. and he's through 1 inning with 4 walks. That pitch is just a little bit high on Kepley. Landed about in the middle of his chest from Rusher. And Kane Kepley's up 3-0. He walked in the last game against the Tobs in his first 3 plate appearances and is ahead 3-0. Here's the pitch. Catches the bottom of the zone, strike 1. Marakovich has needed that strike. And he's back in the count. It's 3-1. 3-1 pitch. It's way high and away from the lefty Kepley. And the first 2 have reached with the walk. So, AJ, get this. So far in this game, we've had 9 walks, and we do not have out-recorded in the second inning.
That's. I wonder if that's approaching any CPL record. That many walks this early in a game. Something you definitely don't hear too often. And we're gonna have another meeting for the Mustangs, and you do wonder how much longer Marakovich has left in this game.
And for Kane Kepley, that's his team leading 25th walk of the season. And the Mustangs are going to turn to their bullpen very early as Max Marakovich struggled in his 3rd start of the season. So the Mustangs will bring a new bullpen pitcher in. First and second, no outs for the HiToms in the top of the second. HBT leads 3-1 over Martinsville. Stay with us as you're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. New pitcher in for Martinsville will be the left-hander Bobby Curry. He's 0-1 on the year with a 5.62 ERA and is set to face the right-handed batting Rowan Watt. So Max Marakovich's day is done after 1 inning, allowing 5 walks, and coming in, he allowed just 6 on the year and 9 innings of work. First pitch to Watt is a strike from about a 3/4 delivery from Bobby Curry, who is looking to throw strikes, first of all, and try to slow down the HiToms offense. 0-1 pitch. It's inside on Watt, so the count's even at 1. Bobby Curry pitches at Mansfield University, appeared in 15 games, went 3-2 in 21 innings pitched. He finished with an ERA of 3.86 this most recent season. 1-0. 1-1 pitch to Watt. Out ahead on the breaking ball. It's 1-2. Fernandez is at second base. Kane Kepley's at first. And Bobby Curry is ahead 1-2 in the count. Takes a look back at Fernandez. 1-2 pitch. Just misses the outside corner. And it's 2-2 on Rowan Watt. A great take from Watt, who plays at UNC Greensboro and playing in the infield today. 2-2 pitch. Pitch is outside. Throw down to third is not going to be in time because the ball was out of the glove of Reese Robinette. They had Fernandez dead to rights at third base on a double steal from the HiToms, but Robinette couldn't hold on to the ball as Fernandez went feet first into third base. And the HiToms have 2 in scoring position with no outs. So it's a full count, and Bobby Curry looking to get out of some trouble. Full count pitch to Watt. It's inside, ball 4, and Rowan Watt works the 6th walk of the game for the HiToms.
The walk trend continues here at Hooker Field as that zone for the HiToms is looking awfully wide.
It's very hard to tell, I will say, from behind third base dugout. Behind the HiToms dugout where we are standing. And it's Austin Deering up to the plate, bases loaded, and takes the first pitch outside. It's 1-0. Fernandez is at third base, Ken Kepley's at second, Rowan Watts at first. HiToms have plated 3 runs with only 2 hits and have the bases currently loaded. Austin Deering, one of the most dangerous hitters for the HiToms, swings through that pitch, and it's 1-1.
Bobby Curry did make an appearance the last time the HiToms were at Hooker Field. He didn't even go a full inning there, gave up 3 earned runs.
Martinsville looking to prevent a disastrous inning, and the 1-1 pitch is outside. It's 2-1, and the HiToms looking to add on to the lead.
And one more thought, the last time the HiToms were at Hooker Field, they were actually, displeased with the home plate umpire because they thought many of the pitches were on the outside of the zone. Tonight, don't think they have that same displeasure.
2-1 pitch from Curry. It's lined into left field. It's going to get down for a base hit. Fernandez scores. Kepley scores. Deering will be held at first base. It's a 2 RBI single on a line drive into left center field. And the HiToms have plated 2 more in the inning. It's 5-1. And with the walks, AJ, it's safe to say the HiToms are making Martinsville pay.
Definitely, and that's something for the HiToms you don't always see this year. When they get men in scoring position, they tend to leave them on, but tonight they are capitalizing it, and that's why they have a 4-run lead.
So those 2 runs are going to be charged to Marakovich, who's going to end with 5 earned runs in just 1 inning. Here's Josh Karen. First pitch to Karen. Catches the inside corner for a strike. So Rowan Watts at third base, Austin Deering's at first. After Austin Deering lined a single into center field where Adam Fallon eventually picked it up. Pitch to Karen. It's a breaking ball, and he takes it for strike 2. Karen struck out, swinging his last at-bat. And Bobby Curry's ahead 0-2 with runners on the corners, and 2 are already in. Karen takes a breaking ball, misses below the zone. 1-2, still no outs in the top of the second. We'll see if Austin Deering tries to take second here. Curry looks at first base, now delivers to Karen. It's popped up behind home plate, and it's just going to get out of play. Onto the roof above the stands here at Hooker Field. But that, if it landed, AJ, was probably about 4 or 5 rows into the seating.
Yeah, not too much seating as it's still under construction, but yeah, if it wasn't for the roof, that would have been way back and almost near the press box.
It's 1-2 on Karen. Watts at third. Deering's on first. 1-2 pitch fouled off into the netting. So Josh Karen battling against the lefty Curry. HiToms scored 3 in the top of the first. Martinsville answered with 1 in the bottom of the first. And now the HiToms have scored 2 in the top of the second and lead 5-1. Next pitch to Karen. It's a breaking ball. It's slicing into right field. It's going to get down in front of Carmichael. Rowan Watt's going to come in to score. Josh Karen, an opposite field single. And it's back-to-back 3-run innings for the HiToms. They lead by 5. So after 3 straight walks to start the inning, it's back-to-back singles from the HiToms.
HiToms taking full advantage of not the greatest pitching from Martinsville as they're already into their bullpen with their second guy. And that's something for the HiToms you got to be smiling with because the more you keep using your pitchers, the more you'll go into the bullpen.
Jack Spike takes a first pitch strike. He ground out to the shortstop Cardarighi, but picked up an RBI. First run that the HiToms scored in this game. Next pitch to Spike. It's inside near his back foot. It's 1-1. So the HiToms have scored 6 runs on only 4 hits. Martinsville has a run on 0 hits. And it's 1-1 on Spike, first and second. Takes the next pitch outside. It's 2-1. Austin Deering's on second base. Josh Caron's on first. 2-1 to Spike. Curry takes a look at second, delivers the pitch. It misses low. It's 3-1. Curry bends his knees, trying to get that lower strike called, but so far no argument from the Martinsville dugout, although a lot of pitches in this game have missed way outside the zone. 3-1 pitch. It's outside, ball 4, and Jack Spike walks. So it goes 3 straight walks, 2 base hits, and now another walk, and that is number 7 of the game, and we still do not have an out in the top of the second. And it's Juan Correa with the bases loaded for the 3rd time in this game for the HiToms, AJ.
HiToms look to tack on even more runs.
Correa fouls it back into the netting. With Austin Deering at third base, Josh Caron at second, Jack Spike on first base. There's been a lot of takes from the HiToms and a couple of really good hits in this inning. But they'll make Martinsville paying for the walks. Next pitch. It's outside. It's 1-1.
And all these walks have caused another Martinsville arm to get loose in their bullpen.
Yeah, not the start Martinsville wanted, going to so many pitchers early on. 1-1 pitch to Correa. It's way outside. It's 2-1. And Curry has just not been able to locate the zone. And maybe he wasn't as warm as he'd hoped he'd be, because you don't expect your starting pitcher, Max Marakovich, to only go 1 inning. 2-1 pitch. It misses outside again. It's 3-1. Feels like a carbon copy of 70% of the HiToms at-bats in this game. Three-one pitch. It's popped up in foul territory and into the stands, way behind the stands, actually. So the count is at 2 strikes, but also 3 balls. Still no outs, top of the second. HiToms have scored 3 in the top of the first and the top of the second, and looking to blow the game open early after Martinsville has given the HiToms 7 free passes. The next pitch fouled off in a very similar spot by Correa, launched down the first base line and out of play. Base is full. And Curry looking to deliver a strike. Full count pitch, breaking ball, got Correa out ahead. And that's the first out of the inning on the first strikeout of the game from Bobby Curry.
It's a strikeout you would have thought was a strikeout for the 3rd out, but he gets a nice round of applause from the light crowd here as they were relieved to just finally get 1 out on the board in this top of the second.
Yeah, that was the 7th batter of this inning for the HiToms. And that's the first out, and it brings up J.D. Suarez, who had a 2 RBI single back in the first. Base is still loaded, but this time with 1 out. First pitch to Suarez. Fastball is by him. Strike 1. With Deering still on third base, Caron's on second. Spike's on first. Oh, 1 pitch. Misses high and away. 1-1 from a very interesting CPL West Division game so far. And it's 1-1. Suarez with the bases loaded. It's hit on the ground to the shortstop Cardarighi. Flips over to second for 1. There will be no throw to first. It's a fielder's choice, and Suarez has his 3rd RBI of the game as Austin Deering comes in to score. A 4-run inning, and it's 7-1 HiToms.
These are the kind of big innings that we usually don't see from the HiToms, but we'll take it without a doubt, putting up 7 runs through 2 innings.
It certainly helps when it starts with 3 straight walks. So it brings up Josh Davis with Caron advancing to third base and Suarez at first base. Curry delivers to Davis. Inside, ball 1. One to 0 on Davis. Here's the pitch. Fastball is by his barrel. It's 1-1. Bobby Curry looking to limit the damage and give the Mustangs a little bit of length out of the bullpen after Max Marakovich just went 1 inning. And he's charged with 5 runs. Suarez takes off for second. The throw down is going to be in time to get J.D. Suarez. The former HiTom Bo Ruscher nails J.D. Suarez at second base. And that will retire the side, but the HiToms tack on 4. They lead 7-1 over the Mustangs. Mustangs looking to answer as we go into the bottom of the second. You're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome back to Hooker Field. Reese Robinette, the lefty, will lead off against Will Gervais in his second inning. After the HiToms tack on 4 in the top of the second, as the pitch misses low and inside, ball 1. And so far, the story of this game, AJ, has been walks, as the 1-0 pitch is hit. Doc Daniels, the 9-hitter, is up next for Martinsville, with Robinette aboard. First pitch, it's outside as Josh Davis is able to stretch and get it, as it was way away from the right-hander Doc Daniels. In the bottom of the first, Gervais got the first 2 outs, and then it was 4 straight walks, as that pitch is fouled into the netting, so it's 1-1. So it's the first hit of the game for Martinsville. 1-1 on Daniels. Here's the pitch. Catches the inside corner, strike 2. One and 2 on Daniels. The right-hander plays it Wilson. Here's the 1-2. It's hit on the ground softly to Juan Correa, who catches it on a line, steps on first base, and it's a double play, as Robinette had absolutely no chance, as it was a liner hit at Juan Correa, and Robinette was far enough away off the first base bag.
A sweet play there from Juan Correa, who once he caught it, kind of eyed up Reese Robinette, saying, hey, I got you out here at first.
Yeah, pretty much no chance on that line drive, because Robinette was taking a secondary lead. No chance to beat Correa back to the bag at first, as he was just a few steps off and caught the line drive. And here's Carter DeRiggi in the top of the lineup, who takes the first pitch low, ball 1. So everything is breaking the HiToms' way early on in this one, including that double play. So there's 2 outs in the bottom of the second, just like that, after the leadoff single from Robinette. The 1-0 pitch misses low. It's 2-0 on Carter DeRiggi, who's been amongst the league leaders in average from the start of this year, currently hitting .343 on the year. 2-0 pitch to DeRiggi. Misses low again, so 3 straight pitches have missed low and just above the turf. And DeRiggi's ahead 3-0. Gerace's 3-0 pitch. Misses high, and it's a 4-pitch walk for DeRiggi. Although Gerace has just allowed 1 run. That's his 5th walk he's allowed in this game.
It's definitely something Gerace needs to cut down because getting 3 guys on base, it doesn't usually run smooth for you, and Mustangs will eventually capitalize, you'd think.
Yeah, coming into this game, Gerace went 5 2/3, had 5 walks. He has 5 walks through an inning and 2/3, so both these starting pitchers a little off their game. As DeRiggi takes off for second, Davis's throw down is going to be in time. Josh Davis, a cannon to J.D. Suarez to get Carter DeRiggi out at second base. So a HiToms double play and a caught stealing gets the Tommies out of the inning without any damage. 7-1, the HiToms still lead after a couple great defensive plays. We head to the third. You're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. So Josh Davis ended the bottom of the second after throwing out Carter DeRiggi on the base pass and will lead off the top of the third against the new pitcher for Martinsville, Drew Fisher, the right-handed arm, who has no record on the year, and this will be his 9th appearance. First pitch into Davis is cracked deep into left field. It's going to go foul with that home run distance from Davis on the first pitch. Drew Fisher has pitched 12 innings, 12 strikeouts, and 10 walks in those innings with a 9 ERA.
And for Davis, he's been in and out of the lineup because of recovering from Tommy John, but every time he comes up to bat, something happens, whether it's an RBI or a home run, which he does have one this year.
It's 1-1 on Davis. Next pitch, behind him on a fastball. It's 1-2. And he's been someone the HiToms have really needed, and the HiToms have not thrown a lot of base runners out. It's definitely still single digits for them. And especially throwing out a runner like DeRiggi. 1-2 pitch, a breaking ball, and Davis stays back and fouls it off down the first base line. A lot of J's in the lineup for the HiToms. Josh Caron's 4th, Jack Spike's 5th, Juan Correa's 6th, J.D. Suarez is 7th, and Josh Davis is 8th as he sends that into deep left field, giving chase his foul, and he makes the catch on the warning track. Josh Davis hits a long fly ball, and it's the first out of the inning, and it's a loud one.
Davis definitely has the distance on that bat. He hit a nuke foul, and that one just didn't have enough to get over the wall.
Yeah, the first foul ball he hit on the first pitch from Fisher was launched into left field, but way foul. That one's in fair territory, but caught by Fallon in deep left center field. Here's Andrew Fernandez, who lines the first pitch into right field and over the glove of Doc Daniels. It's a base hit. It's the 6th hit of the game for the HiToms, and it brings up the top of the lineup in Kane Kepley. But so far, don't want to jinx it, AJ, but 0 walks in this inning.
Something we haven't seen yet, but either way for the HiToms, they're still getting men on base, and that's what you want to keep going throughout this game.
Kane Kepley's up next, who had a base hit his first at-bat, a walk his second. Fisher's first pitch in is lined down the first base line and foul right near Martinsville's bullpen. Sun has gone down for the most part, at least completely away from the field, although it's still pretty light in the sky. And Fernandez is at first base. Fisher tosses back to Needham. But Fernandez is back in time. 0-1 with 1 out on Kane Kepley. Here's the pitch to Kepley. It's lined down the first base line into right field. It's a base hit. Andrew Fernandez will hold at second base, and it's the 3rd time Kane Kepley has reached his 2nd single of the ball game. Yeah, and you could see with Kane Kepley's first swing, he was on Fisher.
Confidence is running for the HiToms batters right now, and it seems every guy that steps up to the batter's box thinks they can either reach base or hit a ball far.
And it's safe to say the walks definitely give you momentum. When you get 3 runners on, kind of accelerates your offense to having a 7-1 lead in the 3rd. Here's Rowan Watt. First pitch. It's a breaking ball that misses high against Watt. Fernandez is on second base. Kane Kepley's on first. After a deep fly out to center for Davis, it's back-to-back hits for the HiToms, who already lead by 6. Fisher takes a look at Fernandez, delivers to the plate. It's in for a strike on the outside part of the plate. One and one on Rowan Watt with the dangerous Austin Deering on deck. The 1-1. Breaking ball misses low and away, and Watt has a good take. It's 2-1. It has not been pretty for Martinsville to start. And the HiToms looking to capitalize with another big inning. Swing and a miss from Watt. Throw down to third. It's going to be in time to get Fernandez. Not sure what the sign was from head coach Sean Stevens, but Kepley stays at first base as Fernandez was sent to third. A very interesting play with Ruscher behind the plate.
Yeah, it's now the 2nd runner that's been caught stealing it for the HiToms tonight.
I mean, you got to at least put on double steal, you would think. And it's 2-2 on Watt after the swing and a miss. 2-2 pitch, check swing, fouled back. I mean, that's a very first and second, 1 out. And the Mustangs have struggled to get outs, and you give them one on the base passes. Fernandez was dead by a good distance at third base. Aggressive base running, but it doesn't pay off for the HiToms. Kane Kepley still at first, 2-2 pitch. Foul back into the netting. Rowan Watt's been walked twice in his 2 at-bats. Rowan Watt's sort of been a fixture in this lineup as of the past few games, hitting second and been in the outfields most of it, and now starting at second base today, more of his natural position in the infield. Two and two, 2 outs. Fisher's delivery to Watt. Breaking ball freezes him at the plate as it hits the outside corner. Strike 3, and Fisher gets out of the inning without any damage. However, the HiToms still have a 6-run lead, 7-1 as we head into the bottom of the 3rd. You're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. It will be Adam Fallon first up in the bottom of the third against Will Gervais. HiToms have a 7-1 lead and out hitting Martinsville 6-1. Gervais's first pitch into Fallon. It's a strike on the inside corner on the lefty, who struck out swinging his first at-bat. It's the only strikeout recorded for Gervais so far. He was only supposed to go 3 innings in this game, but we'll see if the HiToms stretch him longer if he can throw strikes. The 0-1 pitch misses a little bit outside. It's 1-1.
And outside of the numerous walks and balls he's thrown, he's looked pretty strong, Gervais. Just got to throw more in the zone and get those strikes.
Safe to say, if you have 43 pitches and 27 are balls and you've only allowed 1 run, that's not too bad.
He's also had some great help from his defense, too.
1-1 pitch is fouled off from behind home plate. Yeah, no doubt about that, AJ. Caught stealing to end the bottom of the second, and the double play on the line drive to the first baseman, Juan Correa, who stepped on the bag to double off Robinette. 1-2 in the lefty-lefty matchup. Gervais's delivery to Fallon is hit off the end of his bat to left field. Jack Spike is going to come in, but the ball's going to drop in front of him. It's a leadoff base hit for Adam Fallon, and Martinsville has the leadoff runner on for the second straight inning.
Now batting for the Mustangs, first baseman from Western Carolina, number 23,
And Jack Spike at Western Carolina doesn't play a ton of outfield, mostly first base, DH, and catcher.
I think he made 1 or 2 appearances in the outfield at Western Carolina, but as you alluded to, for the most part, he's in the infield.
Here's Drew Needham, takes the first pitch right off the top of his back. So back-to-back runners on Gervais's pitch.
That one sounded like it hurt.
Looked like it hit either on his shoulder blade or right in between on his back. And the first 2 runners are on for Martinsville. Yeah, that was definitely one you could hear a little bit of oomph on that. It's John Boy Rittenhouse takes the first pitch way outside, and both runners are going to advance. Second and third, no outs now for Martinsville.
Just going back to Jack Spike quickly. At Western Carolina, he made 2 appearances out in left field. So, can play the outfield, just not his typical spot.
And Josh Davis and J.D. Suarez will meet with Gervais on the mound. After that pitch was way outside of Rittenhouse. So now Fallon's at third base, Needham's at second. And it's safe to say, AJ, this could get close quickly if Gervais is not able to find the strike zone.
Look, 6 runs may seem like a lot, but if you get the bases loaded, tack on 2 runs in 2 different sequences, so you know it's a close ball game.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're only in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, there's plenty of baseball still yet to be played.
And Martinsville's probably thinking a similar thing. If they throw strikes, it could help their bats get back up. 1-0 on Rittenhouse. Pitch misses outside again as Josh Davis is able to extend his left arm and make the catch. But the pitch is outside. It's 2-0, second and third, no outs for one of the hottest hitters in the Coastal Plain League. 2-0 to Rittenhouse, fouled off and behind home plate. Gervais. 2-1 pitch, gets Rittenhouse to chase in the turf as he shakes his head. Knew that was one he should not have swung at. Two and 2 on Rittenhouse. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's popped up. It's going to go into the outfield grass. J.D. Suarez is out. He makes the catch. Fallon will take a step off third base, but then will retreat back to third as J.D. Suarez goes out into the outfield and makes the catch. As he had a really good read on that from the start, AJ.
Yeah, he had a good read on it, and he was walking backwards, but so that definitely isn't something easy to do, just walking backwards and tracking that ball, and J.D. Suarez doing a really good job of it.
Makes a lot of plays at shortstop ever since he's come to the HiToms during the season. He's been their main shortstop. Recently at Charlotte, will be transferring to the College of Charleston. And the first pitch is outside of Lucas Carmichael. Ball one with one out, second and third for Martinsville. Carmichael plays it William and Mary. And Gervais will deliver his 1-0 pitch to him. The pitch is inside. It's 2-0. Gervais looking to go the 3 innings he planned on going today once he got the ball from manager Sean Stevens. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Inside for the second straight pitch. It's 3-0. First base is open. Second and third. One out for Martinsville. 7-1 the HiToms lead. And Martinsville looking to cut into the HiToms lead. 3-0 pitch is in for a strike.
Peering over to the HiToms dugout, or bullpen rather, it is Will Sword who's getting loose, so he will be the immediate man to replace Gervais.
Yeah, the HiToms only have a few active pitchers out of the bullpen. 3-1 pitch is taken inside. Ball 4 to Lucas Carmichael, and the bases are loaded for the Mustangs. And Gervais, I believe, was pointing to HiToms manager Sean Stevens, saying maybe one more batter, as he held up a 1 on his finger. And it's Bo Ruscher. With Adam Fallon on third base, Drew Needham at second, and Lucas Carmichael on first base. Left-on-left matchup. First pitch to Ruscher, hit on the ground, foul down the first base line.
Not only have we seen plenty of walks tonight, but bases loaded situations both teams have gotten in quite a few jams.
A lot of base runners so far in this game. Way too many to count. And 3 more on for Martinsville. Bases full. 0-1 on Ruscher with 1 out. Here's Gervais' pitch. Low and outside, ball 1. Ruscher, the lefty, will face a 1-1 pitch and take it low. It's 2-1. And you have a feeling this is probably the last batter for Gervais, looking to run out of steam.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he finishes this inning out.
And isn't usually a starter, but the HiToms are relying on him to start games now. 2-1 pitch. It's fouled off by Ruscher into the Mustangs dugout, and it's 2-1, and Gervais is trying to empty the tank here on what is probably his last batter of the game. He's only allowed the 1 run, but has danced around a lot of trouble. And still in some trouble with a 2-2 pitch to Ruscher. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. A massive strikeout from Will Gervais. And now once again he holds out a stop sign to HiToms head coach Sean Stevens.
Yeah, I guess he feels that putout gave him the confidence to get 1 more. And hey, why not? The HiToms don't have an abundance of depth in that bullpen tonight. However, the flip side of that, he does have the bases loaded, so 1 poor pitch could open up this scoring.
So Bo Ruscher strikes out swing. If he would have reached, you think that would have ended the day for Gervais for sure. So the first pitch is outside, ball 1 to Ian Francis. But it's not like Gervais has been pounding the zone. He's thrown 52 pitches, rather 62 pitches, 37 have been balls. And it's 1-0 to Ian Francis. The 1-0 pitch, it's inside, ball 2. 2-0 with 2 outs. Fallon's still on third base. Needham's on second. Carmichael's on first. HiToms lead by 6. 7-1 in the bottom of the third. 2-0 pitch. It's in for a strike right through the center of the plate. This would be a heck of an outing for Will Gervais, who's faced trouble throughout all 3 of his innings he's pitched. 2-1 pitch. It's hit on the ground and past J.D. Suarez into left field. It will score one. Needham's going to be held at third base. An RBI single for Ian Francis. And Gervais is not able to escape trouble in the bottom of the third. It's a 5-run game with Martinsville down 7-2.
That's the risk you were running with keeping Gervais in this game. You had the bases loaded, so one poor pitch that got on the bat of a Martinsville batter would cost the HiToms a run, and it just did.
And now it's Reese Robinette, the lefty, so Gervais will stay in to face him. It's been 3 straight hitters who were possibly ride or die for Gervais' start. First pitch is inside of Robinette. It's 1-0. And he's falling behind a lot of these batters.
And I guess for the HiToms, it's just that the depth in the bullpen just isn't there, and you don't want to bring Will Sword into this game too early and run his pitch count up.
Here's the next pitch. In for a strike, inside corner. Now, Will Sword has the most appearances on the team, but has been warming in the bullpen. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's fouled off down the third baseline. And it hits a light pole. And oh my goodness. Looked like some glass was shattered onto some kids behind, in front of a light pole, and one of those kids picked it up. Yeah, that is a dangerous play. As a foul ball went down the third baseline, hit the light pole, and the glass came shattering down onto some kids who are now told to run away from that glass. A dangerous situation. Back to the game, and the 1-2 pitch is low. It's 2-2. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that happen. Maybe, basketball, you slam it down and the backboard comes shattering down. But a light pole, it got all the way up there to the light. My goodness. Bases loaded. 2-2 for Gervais. Here's the pitch. Nearly hits Robinette as the pitch was behind him as he ducked forward. And the count is full with 2 outs and the bases loaded. And not a bigger situation than this that Gervais has faced in his HiToms career, with Needham at third base, Carmichael at second, and Ian Francis on first base. One already in the inning. Here's the full count pitch. It's lined up the middle. It's going to get through. It's a base hit. Needham will score. Carmichael will be waved around. He'll score as Kepley bobbled in the outfield, but 2 are going to score anyways. A 2 RBI single by Reese Robinette, and it's a 3-run game.
And you feel now Gervais has definitely run his distance in this game. He just looks tired looking at his body language, and out comes head coach Sean Stevens to most likely pull him from this one.
It was a little bit of a risk. He got Rusher to strike out, but then it was a single by Ian Francis and a 2 RBI single by Reese Robinette. 3 have scored in the inning for Martinsville. It's 7-4 as we're in the bottom of the third, and we'll see Will Sword coming on, who leads the HiToms in appearances. We'll tell you more about him right after this, as you're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Martinsville is back in the ball game. It's 7-4 now. The HiToms lead at Hooker Field after 3 are in the inning already. And it's Will Soar coming on for the HiToms, his 14th appearance, which leads the team 0-1 with a 7.50 ERA. And he's pitched in 24 innings this year. And will deliver his first pitch to Doc Daniels on the lower part of the zone for a strike. His last outing against the Zookeepers, he went 2 innings, allowed 4 runs, all being earned. But before that, he was really in a groove. Before that and the Bacon appearance. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Daniels. It's high. It's 1-1. Although the Bacon appearance doesn't mean a ton, even though we got the loss, because the HiToms gave up a 13-run inning.
Yeah, nobody really performed up to standards against the Bacon.
That should go as a team loss.
Yeah.
And it does. But in terms of the pitcher's stats, is the 1-1 pitch is outside. It's 2-1. With Francis on third base, Robinette's on first. 2 outs in the inning with 3 already in. 2-1 to Daniels. The righty delivers the pitch. Outside, it's 3-1.
And for Will Sword, HiToms fans are usually used to seeing him towards the end of games. But unfortunately, as we've alluded to, not much depth in that bullpen. You needed to bring him out early.
3-1, and Doc Daniels in hitter's count. Takes the pitch outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Not a shortage of walks in this game if you like walks.
It's definitely a game for you if you like bases on balls.
Will Soar, this most recent year at Princeton, appeared in 10 games, making 6 starts. Struck out 18 in 31 and 2/3 innings, and finished with just above a 7 ERA. And it's the top of the lineup in Carter DeRiggi, so not someone you want to walk at the bottom of the lineup because it brings up the dangerous Carter DeRiggi, who takes a breaking ball, strike 1 on the outside corner.
And the 1 through 4 on that Martinsville lineup is really, they've all been playing really well as late. And definitely not a situation HiToms pitchers want to see them in with men on base.
The next pitch is inside. It's 1-1 with 2 outs. 3 wild innings so far in this game.
Anytime these two teams come together, it's always an interesting affair.
And this one's different from the rest. It's been a lot of walks. Swords 1-1 pitch to Carter DeRiggi. It's sent out deep into right field. Austin Deering is ranging back under it onto the warning track to make the catch. A loud final out, but the HiToms get out of the inning. Martinsville scores 3. The HiToms still lead 7-4 as we head into the 4th. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network.
Into the 4th inning here at Hooker Field. It's the HBT HiToms 7, Martinsville Mustangs 4. Drew Fisher remains on the bump for Martinsville. He's the second reliever they've had to use in this game, and he'll go up against the dangerous Austin Deering, who was an all-star for the HiToms this year. First one from Fisher to Deering is in for a strike. Deering so far today was walked back in the 1st inning and then got an RBI double in the 2nd. Next one from Fisher is in the zone for strike 2. Fisher brings the glove to his face. Gets on the same page with his catcher, Ruscher. And now kicks and deals the 0-2. Check swing from Deering is in for ball 1. Deering this year batting .361. That leads the team and the West Division for the CPL. The 1-2 from Fisher is just on the outside of the zone. It's a 2-2 count. Deering also has 3 home runs, which is tied for the top on the HiToms roster. Two-two delivery from Fisher, swing and a miss from Austin Deering, and he goes down on strikes, and there's one out here in the top of the 4th.
And that's the key to facing dangerous hitters in the CPL, is getting out ahead, like Fisher got ahead of Deering, 0-2, and then the hitter has to guess what you're throwing next.
It's now the DH for the HiToms tonight, Josh Karen, who struck out back in the 1st inning, but does have an RBI in the 2nd, part of a 4-run 2nd inning from the HiToms. Fisher's first one to Karen is in the zone for a strike. Karen's behind 0-1. HiToms lead 4-7 over the Martinsville Mustangs here in the top of the 4th. Next one from Fisher to Karen. Check swing from him. Hits the turf. We go to our first base umpire, and he says Karen did not go around. It's a 1-1 count for him with one out here at Hooker Field. Karen out of Nebraska. Didn't play against the Tobs. 1-1 from Fisher is top part of the zone on the outside for ball 2. Last time out against the Mustangs, Karen went 0 for 5, so he's already changed his fortunes tonight. 2-1 from Fisher is again on the outside. So the ball trend continues tonight as Karen sits in a 3-1 count with one out, no one on for the HiToms. 3-1 delivery from Fisher is hit on by Josh Karen. It's out past the shortstop, and it'll be a base hit for Josh Karen with one out.
That's one of the hardest hit balls Josh Karen's hit all year. That was an absolute missile through the left side of the infield.
Got right between Reese Robinette at 3rd and Carter DeRiggi at shortstop, and then trickled into left field where John Boyne Rittenhouse was able to collect it. Now it's Jack Spike with one out for the HiToms and his teammate and fellow catcher Josh Karen over at 1st. Spike tonight out in left field. Fisher deals to him. It's on the bottom part of the zone for ball 1. 1-0 on Spike, who also at Western Carolina made an appearance at 3rd base, so he can really play all around the diamond. 1-0 from Fisher. Check swing from Spike is in for strike 1. So one's across the board with Josh Karen over at 1st. HiToms lead 7-4 over the Mustangs. Spike's average currently sitting at .264 as Fisher deals to him again. Swing and a miss there from Spike, and he's behind in the count 1-2. 2-1 on Jack Spike. One out here at Hooker Field. Karen's on 1st. Delivery from Fisher is a check swing on the outside of the zone for ball 2. Two-two count now for Jack Spike. Counts at 2-2. Fisher deals. It's hit foul by Jack Spike. And it bounces into the Mustangs dugout. And here at Hooker Field, they selected Jack Spike tonight as the player who, if he strikes out, all alcoholic beverages, I believe, are half off, Adam. That's the way it works.
Man, that's why it's when Spike's up, the crowd's got the loudest. He's got that target on his back.
He's in a 2-2 count. Josh Caron's at first. Fisher delivers to him. It goes low. Caron's on the move. The throw to second is not in time. Stolen bag for Josh Caron, and he moves over to second.
And that's a risky play because it's a full count, and you don't want to get someone thrown on the bases when you have a 3-ball count on someone.
It's only Josh Caron's second stolen base of the year, and it's a full count on Jack Spike. Next one from Fisher on the bottom part of the zone, lower corner, and there are 2 on for the HiToms. Josh Caron's at second, and Jack Spike over at first.
And boy, did he earn that walk, did Spike. 2 pitches very close to the zone. That last 3-2 pitch was just low. What an at-bat.
And now it's Juan Correa for the HiToms, who leads 7-4 over the Mustangs here at Hooker Field. Delivery from Fisher to Correa is in for strike 1. Pivotal game in the West, as the HiToms are only 2.5 games out of first. They need to win the division to make it to the playoffs. Josh Caron's over at second, just stole a base. Fisher deals the 0-1. Check swing from Correa is in for ball 1. One's across the scoreboard now. HiToms looking to capitalize after the Mustangs trickled in 3 runs in the bottom of the third. They have 2 on. Fisher looks back at second, now deals to Correa. That's in fair territory, right to the third baseman. He throws over to second and to first. And how about that from the Martinsville Mustangs? They get a double play with 2 on base for the HiToms to end this top of the third. And went right around the diamond, starting with Reese Robinette. He threw to Carter DeRiggi, who threw all the way over to first to Drew Needham to retire the HiToms and get Martinsville out of this top of the fourth. Their bats will be back up in the bottom of the fourth. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome you back to Hooker Field, starting the bottom of the fourth. HiToms have 7 runs off of 7 hits in this one, while the Martinsville Mustangs have 4 runs off of 4 hits. And Will Sword, who came in relief for Will Gervais, will go into his first full inning of work against Adam Fallon, who started off the bottom of the third for Martinsville, and will do the same in the bottom of the fourth. He was able to cross home plate in that bottom of the third. He got a base hit to get a big inning going for Martinsville. They'll look to do the same here. Sword kicks, steals to Fallon. It's low for ball 1. Fallon out of Bowling Green. He's rocking the light orange, almost creamsicle armband to represent the Bowling Green colors. 1-0 from Sordis. Hit into fair territory right to the first baseman, Juan Correa, who collects it and walks over to first base to retire Adam Fallon. And there's a quick out for the HiToms.
And now we've seen back-to-back plays on hard hit balls, but have been outs. Going back to Correa's play in the bottom of the third. Sometimes you hit the ball hard, but it's right at someone, and it turned into a double play.
Now it's Drew Needham for the Mustangs. Sword's first one to Needham is hit right towards Wancrea again. He backhand gloves it, tosses over to Will Sword, who gets on the bag, and still no call from our umpire, and it's in time. Great work by Will Sword to get the out as he was on a collision course with Drew Needham to first base.
And I don't know if the first base umpire knew if Sword touched the bag because it looked like he tripped up on his feet, and he must have assumed or saw that one of Sword's feet hit the bag as Correa made a great backhand play going to his right. That is not easy as a first baseman. And Sword covering the bag was a great play.
So it goes 3-1 on the putout, and there's 2 out.
Test 1-2. Test 1-2.
J.D. Suarez now up to bat in the top of the 5th inning for the HiToms. They lead 7-4 over the Martinsville Mustangs. Next one to Suarez is low out of the zone for a ball. And for Martinsville, it's still Drew Fisher on the bump. He came in relief for Bobby Curry back in the 2nd inning. He deals to J.D. It's again low. And Suarez is ahead in the count, 2-1. Two one to Suarez is outside of the zone. It's a 3-1 count. Just starting the top of the 5th here at Hooker Field in Martinsville, Virginia. JD in this one has 2 RBIs as he chops one into foul territory. And then back in the 2nd, he was caught stealing at second base. But he still does have the 2 RBIs to his name tonight. Kick, full count delivery is cracked out by J.D. Suarez all the way to left field. That ball is gone. It hits the top of the wall, but it doesn't matter. It's out of play. It's a home run, a solo shot for J.D. Suarez. And the HiToms expand their lead to 8-4 over the Mustangs.
Just Dingers. J.D. is back. That ball was crushed and went way further than I thought. I believe that hit the top of the wall. We both looked at it. It could hit something else.
Yeah, there could be something else behind it, definitely.
But it popped up in the air. It didn't clear the wall by a ton is what we'll say, but it was hit very hard.
Now it's another guy who can hit the ball really hard off the bat in Josh Davis. Fisher deals to Davis. That one is a swing by Davis, but it gets away from Bo Ruscher. 0-1 on Davis. J.D. Suarez's 4th home run of the year. He now leads the team in homers. Fisher places the 0-1 for Davis into fair territory as Davis cracks one out towards right field, and that one is off the wall. Davis is rounding first. He's headed towards second. He will cruise into second base, and the hard-hitting HiToms continue.
That was a great swing by Josh Davis. Opposite field power and drills it into right center. And the HiToms are starting to really hit the ball hard. And although hard contact can be outs, more than likely you want to hit the ball hard.
So not a nice deal start at all for Drew Fisher in this inning, as out comes the Martinsville Mustangs skipper to either talk or maybe pull Fisher from this game, as there is an arm loose in the Mustangs bullpen. And that will do it for Drew Fisher. So it will be the 4th pitcher used tonight for the Mustangs when we come back. Right now the HiToms have a man in scoring position. They lead 8-4 over Martinsville. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. HiToms are threatening yet again against the Martinsville Mustangs. It's Alex Nappy into relief for Drew Fisher with the bottom of the HiToms order and Andrew Fernandez up to bat. Fernandez looks at one all the way for ball 1. Josh Davis is over at second after his double. Before that, J.D. Suarez got a solo home run to make it an 8-4 game. Nappy looks at second, now deals to Fernandez, and it's low again for ball 2. Nappy on the year, making his 12th appearance. None of those are starts. ERA of around 6. He deals to Fernandez, who puts a ball high into the air. Infield's looking onto it. Carter DeRiggi says he has it, and he does for out number 1.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the 2-0 aggressiveness on a pitch that was a little bit inside, and Fernandez is aggressive. But that might have been the 3rd ball.
Now it's the top of the Tommies order with Kane Kepley up to bat. Kepley's had yet another productive day. 2 base hits and a walk. He's got Josh Davis over at second. DeRiggi at shortstop, nowhere near Davis, as the first one into Kepley's low for ball 1. Both DeRiggi at shortstop and Daniels at second are pinched far back in the infield. As Fisher hops off the rubber for a moment, as Davis is pointing to both DeRiggi and Daniels, saying, hey, these guys are nowhere near me. 1-0 on Kepley. Here is that 1-0. It's in the zone for strike one. One's across the board for number 1 for the HiToms. Davis has his hands on his knees at second. 1-1 from Nappy is hit on by Kane Kepley. It's in fair territory out towards left field. Rittenhouse gloves it. Davis is around third. He will comfortably score as the throw to second is nowhere near it, but Kane Kepley will halt at second, and it's an RBI double for him as Josh Davis is able to score.
I mean, that is absolutely fantastic base running from Kane Kepley, who rounded first base thinking two, saw the throw was going to be over Daniels, and took off for second. A fantastic read, and that's why Kepley's in a leadoff position, because not only can he hit, but he is a fantastic base runner.
Now it's Rowan Watt for the HiToms. Tommy's lead 9-4 over Martinsville. Kepley can definitely run the base paths. On the year, Kepley has 19 stolen bases. That leads the HiToms. As Daniels will definitely need to keep a close eye on Kepley. He checks in towards second. No throw from Nappy. He now deals to Watt. It's in for a strike, and it's a 1-1 count on Rowan Watt.
And it's not too often you see, great base running like that. You round so hard at first base that you're ready if the throw goes over to head towards second. And if he didn't immediately break, he would not have been able to get to second base.
Nappy looks at Kepley. Goes to Watt for the pitch. Check swing from him is in for a ball. Watt in this one scored in the first 2 innings, struck out back in the third. He's ahead in the count, 2-1. Kane Kepley's over at second. HiToms have already scored 2 runs in this top of the 5th. The deal from Nappy is just in the lower part of the zone. Rowan Watt isn't happy with it, and he's in a 2-2 count. Nappy looks at Rusher for the sign. Now looks back over at second. Kicks his leg. Places the 2-2 on the outer part of the zone. And it is a full count for Rowan Watt. Inning began with J.D. Suarez solo home run. Josh Davis got a double. Andrew Fernandez flew out towards right field. And Kane Kepley just got the RBI double. Next one from Nappy. Check swing from Watt. And he is aboard at first base.
Great at-bat by Watt. He's a little bit bothered by the strike 2 call, but doesn't expand the zone. And the HiToms have base runners on, and you're wondering, are the HiToms going to be aggressive on the base pass again with first and second one out?
They have been earlier in this game as it's Austin Deering up to bat. Deering went 1 for 4 against the Tobbs on Saturday. He struck out his last plate appearance tonight as he chops one just into foul territory right in front of the home plate. And Bo Rusher scoops it up and walks it back to our home plate umpire.
And that must have hit Deering's foot, because that actually was going to go in fair territory after a little bit of spin. But after that most recent walk, that's 10 walks that Martinsville has in this game.
Kane Kepley's over at second. Rowan Watt's at first. Delivery from Nappy. Check swing from Deering. And it's in for strike 2. So Deering goes behind 0-2 in the count. HiToms have 1 out. Kepley still has a lead over at second. So too does Watt at first. Nappy looks at second. Now deals to Deering. It's in the zone for strike 3. Austin Deering looked at it all the way, and he takes the slow walk back to the HiToms dugout.
And once again, back-to-back at-bats. Austin Deering was down 0-2 into the count, and back-to-back strikeouts.
So with 2 outs, it's the DH man, Josh Karen, up to bat. HiToms have Kane Kepley in scoring position. Rowan Watt over at first. Alex Nappy currently dealing for Martinsville. He kicks, steals to Karen. It's in for strike 1.
But if this game hasn't showed what Austin Deering has done this year, I don't know what will. Has reached twice, and the 2 times he's been out has been a strikeout, which he's told me he's trying to continue to work on.
A look back at second. Now a delivery from Nappy. It's on the outside of the zone for ball 1.
And I think you could say a lot about the HiToms hitters, including Josh Karen and Juan Correa. If they put the ball in play, it's going to be hit pretty hard. It's just about getting the barrel to the ball. And Karen's been able to lay off the breaking ball big time today. And works it to a full count pitch, and the runners are going to be on the move.
Nappy prepares the 3-2. Here's the payoff delivery to Karen. It's lined out towards the center field. Kane Kepley's around first. And Rowan Watt is at third sliding in, and it'll be another run on the board for the HiToms. An RBI single for Josh Karen makes it a 10-4 game.
And that's the advantage of having 2 outs in a 3-2 count. Kepley and Watt are both going. Kepley scores easily from second, and Watt slides over to third on a very hard hit ball by Josh Karen. His 3rd hit of the game.
Now it's Jack Spike up to bat for the HiToms. With 2 outs, Rowan Watt's over at third, Josh Karen's at first. Kane Kepley was able to score. But yet another, as Jack Spike puts one out towards center field. Adam Fowles looking up onto it. He tracks all the way back towards the wall and catches it for the 3rd out. But the HiToms are able to tack on a few more runs. They make it a 10-4 game. The Mustangs bats will have work to do in the bottom half of the 5th inning. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Bottom of the 5th inning here at Hooker Field, and it's former HiTom Bo Rusher to get things going for the Martinsville Mustangs. Will Sword still dealing for HPT. He places one towards his former teammate. It's on the outside for ball 1. Rusher tonight was walked in the 1st inning and struck out back in the 3rd. After Rusher will be the bottom of Martinsville's order. There's another one sinks in for ball 2. Will Sword usually only goes about 3 innings. This would be his 2nd full inning if he can get through it. He's in a Now 3-0 count on Bo Ruscher as one goes high above the lettering. Kick and 3-0 from Sword is in the zone for strike one. HiToms lead 10-4 over the Mustangs. 3-1 from Sword is hit on by Ruscher. Andrew Fernandez is looking up onto it, and he gloves it right on the third base line, a few steps behind the third base bag for out number one.
Yeah, it's an important first out after Sword was down 3-0. Finds a way to pop out Ruscher.
It's Ian Francis with one out for the Mustangs up to bat. He got an RBI back in the third, grounded out in the first inning. Sword's first one to Francis, sinks for ball one. Francis from Youngstown State. As he cracks one into foul territory, right into the HiToms bullpen, as it took a bounce off of, looks like a wooden area near the HiToms bullpen, over the fence and into the parking lot area. Seen quite a few things down the third base line tonight, including a light bulb being cracked by a foul ball. It looks as though Fallon needed to get a new bat after that.
And I'll emphasize, it wasn't just, a light bulb that's in your usual home. It was on a light here at Hooker Field that's way up a ton of feet into the air. And it just came crashing down. Did some glass.
Ian Francis has a new barrel, and he's ready to go for a 1-1 delivery from Sword. One's on the way from Sword. It goes high for ball two. Francis against the Chili Peppers on Saturday went 1 for 3. Did have a home run in that one. Brought his home run total up to 2. His next one's on the way from Sword. Francis cracks it out towards center field. Kane Kepley's looking all the way at it and gloves it for the second out. So back-to-back flyouts mean there's 2 outs for Reese Robinette. Robinette, a freshman out of Arkansas. In his freshman year, he only played 14 games, had 25 at-bats. Sword delivers to him. It's into the turf, gets out of the glove of Sword, and the ball trickles into the HiToms dugout. Robinette on the year batting 196, went 0 for 3 against the Chili Peppers. Does have 9 RBIs. Sword deals to him. Big swing and a miss from Robinette. Puts the count at 1-1 with 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. HiToms lead 10-4 over the Mustangs. Kick and deal from Sword. It's at the knees for ball 2. Sword with the glove at his waist. He'll deal from there. That's a hit on by Robinette as Rowan Watt can't glove it over at second. He dives into the turf, but either way, it's a base hit for Reese Robinette. As Rowan Watt couldn't stretch out far enough to grab it, it trickled all the way to Austin Deering in right field, and Robinette is safe at first base.
That might be the first ball that's been hit near Rowan Watt the entire game.
Doc Daniels in the 9th hole tonight for the Mustangs. Up to bat now with 2 outs, and Robinette over at first. Sword kicks, deals to Daniels. He chops it into the turf. Andrew Fernandez runs onto it, gloves it, and he'll throw to first base for the 3rd out. Good work there from Andrew Fernandez, who thought to throw to second, but then made the more comfortable throw over to first for the 3rd out. And the Mustangs get one hit in the inning, no runs, no errors from the HiToms. It's still a 10-4 game. We go to the 6th inning. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. First baseman Juan Correa will start off the 6th inning here at Hooker Field. HiToms lead 10-4 over the Mustangs. Alex Nappy will go into his next inning of work. He came in relief in the last inning, gave up 3 runs. That's what sets the scoreline at 10-4. His first one to Juan Correa was low for ball 1. He kicks, steals the 1-0, swing and a miss by Correa. Brings the count to 1-1. Correa tonight struck out his last 2 appearances and was walked back in the first inning. One of many batters tonight who have been walked. 1-1 from Nappy. There's a check swing low from Sword. We go to first base, and the umpire deems that Correa did not go around, so he's ahead 2-1 in the count. On the year, Correa batting .253. Another one is in the turf for ball 3. This year, Correa has been walked 8 times. He also has 23 strikeouts. 3-1 is hit foul over the grandstands here at Hooker Field. Full count now on Juan Correa. The kick, the payoff pitch, swing and a miss by Correa, and there's 1 out in this 6th inning. So it's now the bottom of the HiToms order with J.D. Suarez, who hit a big solo shot back in the 5th inning to get the scoring started. It was Suarez's 4th home run on the year. Happy with the glove right at his chest. He'll deal from there to Suarez. It's in the zone for strike 1. Suarez is 3 for 3 tonight. 0-1 on him right now as one is at the knees for ball 1. One's across the board for J.D. Suarez. No one on base for the Tommies. A kick from Nappy and a deal. One hit on high into the air by J.D. Suarez. John Boy Rittenhouse is running onto it, and he will be able to... And it looks as though he was unable to glove it. Or rather, he did glove it somehow. Rather acrobatic glove. Not sure how he caught it, but either way he did, and it's a fly out for J.D. Suarez. And there's 2 outs.
That ball was hit so high that it was the first play that the lights have actually been in effect here. And Rittenhouse, instead of trying to catch it over his head, went for like a scoop underneath it. So he waited for the ball to drop longer than you're supposed to. And then looked like he pinned it up against his chest to hold it in. J.D. Suarez just a little bit under that. Otherwise, that would have been his 2nd home run.
So now it's Josh Davis who got a double, and he cracks another one out towards left field. This one will bounce right towards John Boy Rittenhouse. And it's a base hit for Josh Davis, and his excellent form continues.
He has been fantastic after coming off Tommy John surgery. Can he just rip the ball or what, AJ?
As I alluded to, every time he steps up to the plate, you just feel something's going to happen with his bat. And he gets a base hit with 2 outs, and Andrew Fernandez up to bat. Davis with his hands on his knees at first. Nappy deals to Fernandez. It is in for strike 1. No clouds in the sky. So we are now in the 9 o'clock hour as Nappy looks at first. 0-1 on Fernandez. Pitch from Nappy is chopped foul towards the grandstand cage area in right field. Much better weather compared to the last time we were at Hooker Field, and it was about an hour rain delay in between the 5th inning. Nappy takes his time preparing the 0-2. 2 outs for the HiToms. Fernandez up to bat. He flew out to right. Another one goes in for Fernandez for strike. Fernandez looked at it all the way, and that'll end this top of the 6th. HiToms do get 1 hit. No runs, though. No errors from the Mustangs. We'll go to the bottom half of the 6th. HiToms currently leading 10-4 over Martinsville. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Here at Hooker Field, we are in the bottom of the 6th. The HiToms lead 10-4 over the Mustangs. Will Sword goes into another inning of work. Usually don't see him go this kind of distance, but he has to tonight, and he'll face the top of the Mustangs order with Carter DeRiggi. Sword deals to DeRiggi. It's in the zone for strike 1. 0-1 on DeRiggi. Here's the pitch from Sword. Hit on by DeRiggi. Rowan Watts charging onto it. He tosses to Juan Cray at first to retire DeRiggi on the 4-3.
And the offense has been pretty quiet for Martinsville as of the last couple innings, and they're going to need to get it working again. I mean, otherwise the HiToms can really put this game out of reach. Already up 6, and Sword's been throwing a lot of strikes.
Adam Fallon now up to bat for Martinsville. Sword deals to Fallon. Big hack from him. He loses his elbow pad on his batting arm.
The location has just been on point for Sword. He's allowed 1 hit and 2 2/3, and just 1 walk.
Here's the 0-1 from Sword. It's steamed out towards Rowan Watt at second. He tosses over to Juan Correa, and there's back-to-back 4-3 putouts.
Yeah, after I mentioned that was Rowan Watt's first ball. He's had 2 straight hit there in this inning, but, I mean, Will Sword is now at 3 innings. The most he's gone is 3 innings against the Bigfoots on July the 1st, so now reaching into some season-high territory.
It's the third man in the order, Drew Needham, up to bat now with 2 outs for Martinsville. Sword deals to Needham. It's in the turf for ball 1. Needham ahead, 1-0 in the count, 2 outs, no one on base for Martinsville. The kick and deal from Sword is in the zone for strike 1. Needham this year batting at 200, has 37 strikeouts. 1-1 from Sword is steamed out towards center field. Kane Kepley's running onto it. He's able to make the grab. Great awareness there from Kane Kepley to make a few steps to his left to get that one hauled in, and it is 1-2-3 on the Martinsville batters. We will go to the 7th inning. HiToms lead 10-4 over the Mustangs. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network.
Welcome back to Hooker Field in Martinsville, Virginia. It's a new pitcher on for the Mustangs, Sterling Thomas, for his 7th appearance. The lefty sidearm delivery, outside ball 1 to Kane Kepley. Pitches his collegiate ball at North Carolina A&T, the redshirt sophomore. 6'3", 215. And it starts lefty-lefty. 1-0 pitch to Kepley. It's taken for a strike. It's been a big struggle for Sterling Thomas this year. He's pitched 5 innings and has over a 25 ERA, but that's only in 6 appearances. 1-1 pitch to Kepley is hit on the ground and through the left side for a base hit. Leadoff base hit for Kane Kepley, who makes a hard turn, but will stay at first base. A 4-hit day for Kane Kepley, 3 singles and a double.
He's also been able to score 3 times as well, so another just excellent performance from Kepley in the leadoff role.
And the HiToms saw Sterling Thomas before. His last appearance, July 14th against the HiToms, he went 2 innings, allowing 3 runs, all being earned in 4 hits. But the struggle has been walks. In 5 innings pitched, he has 9 walks and just 3 strikeouts. And is set to face Rowan Watt. Kane Kepley takes off on the first pitch, pitches outside, throw down to second, is not in time. Kane Kepley with a stolen base and holds on to the bag. as he looked like he was about to slide off the back of second base, but holds on, and the HiToms have a runner in scoring position.
And it brings up Kepley's stolen base total to 20 now.
Here's Rowan Watt. First pitch in is a strike. So Kepley far and away the stolen bags leader on the HiToms. And now looking to be brought home for Rowan Watt. Faces a 1-1 count. Here's the pitch. It's fouled back into the netting here in the top of the 7th. HiToms lead 10-4. HiToms have 10 runs on 13 hits and have 1 error. Martinsville has 4 runs on 5 hits with 0 errors. 1-2 on Rowan Watt. Thomas delivers the pitch. It's low. It's 2-2. Two and two on Rowan Watt, sporting a blue bat, which the HiToms received quite a few from the Tobs last game. 2-2 pitch. Misses way outside on the sidearm delivery from Thomas. He's nearly submarine, is the lefty's delivery. And sometimes location's a little bit harder with the sidearm delivery. Full count pitch, it's way inside, ball 4. And the first 2 have reached for the HiToms. A single by Kane Kepley steals second, but it doesn't matter as Rowan Watt walks for the 4th time in this game. And that now makes it walk number 10 on the game for Martinsville. So they've reached double digits. Austin Deering's now up, takes the first pitch for a strike on a fastball.
Very difficult to win when you give up that number of walks.
And the HiToms gave up 6 from Gervais, but just 1 from Sword and 3 1/3, and that's been the difference, like you mentioned, AJ. 0-1 pitch. It's outside and gloved by Ruscher. But it's 1-1 on Deering, first and second, no outs. HiToms looking for a big top of the 7th. Here's the pitch. Kepley takes off. Throw it on a third is not going to be in time. Kane Kepley with a fantastic jump. And Ruscher's throw was a little too late. So Kane Kepley, back-to-back stolen bases. And that was a strike into Austin Deering is what it was ruled, but Kepley is on third base with Watt on first. Rowan Watt takes off for second. Deering fouls the pitch off. Had to protect with 2 strikes. The first and third base running. The HiToms are taking off no matter what now. Yeah, Kane Kepley has 3 stolen bags on the game, so it bumps his season total up to 22. 1-2 on Deering. Here's the pitch. Just got a piece of it. The lefty just gets a piece and fouls it off into the HiToms dugout. 1-2 with first and third 2 outs. Rowan Watt's on first. Kepley's on third. Gotta think Watt's on the move again from first. Thomas delivers to the plate. It's hit down the first base line, tailing, and it's in fair territory. It's going to get down and go near the right field corner. Kepley's in to score. Watt's going to be held at third base. Austin Deering with the double. 2 hits on the game for Deering, and his 3rd RBI of the game.
Bats just keep working for the HiToms, and that one maybe a bit of luck taking a bounce on the right side of fair territory.
But it was a great piece of hitting by Deering in a long at-bat that included a couple pitches fouled off to get his pitch on the inside portion of the plate and hook it down the right field line in fair territory. So the HiToms have 1 in the inning and now lead 11-4. Watt's on third, Deering's on second. Josh Caron's at the plate looking to expand on this lead. Thomas delivers a first pitch strike into Caron. And we've said this a lot of times today. The HiToms getting a bunch of runners on, and the Mustangs still have recorded no outs. Oh, 1 pitch to Caron. It's hit on the ground. Carter he dives. He can't make the stop. Rowan Watson to score. Deering's going to be waved around. He's going to score a 2 RBI single by Josh Karen, and he has a 4-hit game.
It's got to feel good for Josh Karen, who'd been struggling as of late, but hopefully tonight is a good turn of form for him.
Add another 2 runs for the HiToms. 13-4 as Rusher will meet with his pitcher Thomas on the mound. This inning started with the base hit for Kane Kepley. Rowan Watt walked. Austin Deering scored Kane Kepley on an RBI double. And with second and third, Josh Karen knocked both Watt and Deering in on his 4th single of the game. And he has a 4-hit, 4 RBI game, his best performance in a HiToms uniform.
And also the HiToms are flirting with a run rule now.
Absolutely. It's 10 after 7. So although if the HiToms score one more run, then they would have to close down the door in Martinsville in the bottom of the 7th. And it's going to be Nate Chrisman coming in to run for Josh Karen, who's had a heck of an afternoon. And I think the HiToms are thinking about getting the 10-run rule and saving a pitcher out of the bullpen, as I would assume Chrisman's going to try to take second base here.
Yeah, that would be huge, especially because you have a game tomorrow night against Ashboro. Quick turnaround. The less arms you have to use at this point of the season is a huge relief for the HiToms.
Here's Jack Spike, who scored the first run of the HiToms for the HiToms in the top of the first with an RBI ground out to Cardarighi. He's also walked twice and a deep fly out to center. Taking off on the first pitch is Chrisman. Here's the throw down a second, swim move. It's in time. Nate Chrisman tried to get a little fancy, lifting his left arm up, but couldn't get around the tag, and Chrisman's thrown on the base pass.
Well, I guess that's exactly why you brought Nate Chrisman in to steal base, but didn't go to plan.
It seemed a little too predictable.
Yeah.
I think if the broadcasters are calling it on the first pitch, then, I mean, it should say on the scouting report, steals bases. It's also good defensively. 0-1 pitch to Spike. It's in the turf, ball 1. But a little bit risky to get the first down the base pass.
Definitely, and on the year, Chrisman had 2 stolen bases. Now it's only in 6 games.
1-1 pitch to Spike. It's sent out into the right center field gap. It's going to get down, and Lucas Carmichael's going to scoop it up, turn and throw. Spike heads for second. The throw is cut off, and it's a double for Jack Spike. So the HiToms get thrown on the bases, but then they hit a double into right field off the bat of Jack Spike.
Everything's just falling into place tonight for the HiToms.
Hitting the ball hard sometimes leads to those sort of things happening, as everything's finding the grass out in the outfield. Make that hit number 16 for the HiToms. And that might be the end of the day for Sterling Thomas, who's only out. Came on a HiToms caught stealing from Nate Chrisman. And that is going to be it. Sterling Thomas records 1 out. Gives up 3 runs. HiToms have scored 3 in the top of the 7th. 13-4. HiToms threatening with the 10-run rule. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hooker Field. HiToms have scored 3 in the top of the 7th and lead 13-4. And the new pitcher replacing Sterling Thomas is Landon Abrahamson, who pitches at Patrick and Henry Community College. 6'2", 215 is the right-hander. And is set to face Juan Correa with Jack Spike on second base. First pitch into Correa. Slow and inside, ball 1. A disastrous inning started with the Kane Kepley single, then a Rowan Watt walk, an RBI double from Austin Deering, and a 2 RBI single by Josh Caron. Here's the 1-0 pitch into Correa, swing and a miss, strike 1 above the zone. Got him to chase. And you might say, AJ, how do the HiToms have 1 out? Well, after Josh Caron got a base hit, Nate Chrisman came in a pinch run and got thrown out second base. Then Jack Spike fouled with a double into the right center gap. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's lined right over the bleachers. Ooh. I mean, that thing had some heat on it. It was just hit above the fence. And there's about 4 rows at the top that you can actually get hit by the baseball. And actually, pretty much everyone's in those rows. That was a dangerous situation. 1-2 on Correa. It's in the turf, gets by Ruscher. Jack Spike advances to third, so a giant play for the HiToms as they're looking to end this game in 7, going up 10. And that 10-run lead is just 90 feet away.
And for the HiToms, of course, assuming they get the victory tonight, good times keep rolling for them as the Owls are beating the Blowfish 10-4, and that's huge. And the Flamingos are beating the Bacon 2-0. So 2 score lines going in favor of the HiToms. And earlier today, the Flamingos beat the Bacon 6-5.
And not going in favor of the HiToms is that 2-2 pitch that Juan Correa chases out of the zone. But you mentioned it. We'll keep an eye on the scoreboard. And it's been a pretty good day so far for the Tommies. And it's also been a great day for J.D. Suarez, who had a solo home run back in the top of the 5th to get things started. And also has a 2 RBI single back in the 1st. And Abrahamson's first pitch is in for a strike. Abrahamson has around a 15 ERA this year in 7 appearances. He has 2 saves, and he's gone 6 1/3, 11 strikeouts to 12 walks. So right around 2 per inning of both strikes and walks. 0-1 pitch by the bat of Suarez. It's 0-2. Abrahamson originally listed as an outfielder on CPO website, but can pitch a little bit too. Just has a couple at-bats on the year. 0-2 to Suarez. Pitch is way high. It's 1-2 as Abrahamson loses his hat for the 2nd straight pitch. Jack Spike's on third base. J.D. Suarez at the plate. Looking to make a great night spectacular. 1-2 pitch is way outside and by Ruscher. It bounces back. Spike's head first slides. Not going to be in time. HiToms have the 10-run lead after Abrahamson launched the pitch way outside. And Abrahamson with some good sportsmanship there as he gave Spike a high five back into the dugout as it was a little bit of a collision at home plate.
Yeah, it kind of tagged him on Spike's forehead. But thankfully Spike was all right.
The pitch was thrown outside and low that it hit off the bottom barrier and bounced back to Ruscher. But Spike had a great jump off third base. So 4 in the inning, 14-4 HiToms. The next pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Suarez goes down swinging, but the HiToms have a chance to end it in 7. 14-4, the HiToms lead as they're looking to close out the Mustangs. Stay with us as you're tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. John Boy Rinhouse is hitting first in the bottom of the 7th. HiToms have a chance to close it out, being up 10 runs, 14-4 in 7 innings. But Will Sword's on the mound to face John Boy Rinhouse. First pitch is a breaking ball, strike 1. He's gone 3 innings at most, has Sword this year, and now he's at 3 1/3 and looking to push towards 4 1/3 and close this game out. 0-1 pitch. It's in the turf, ball 1. This most recent year at Princeton, he pitched up to 6 innings and also pitched 5 innings 3 separate times. So this would rank as his 4th longest collegiate appearance. The 1-1 is outside. It's 2-1. Just a spectacular performance by Will Sword to settle down the hot Martinsville bats. 2-1 pitch to Rinhouse. It's high. It's 3-1. Sword has gone 3 1/3, allowed 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 0 strikeouts, but he's letting his defense play behind him and is also getting some weak contact on the ground. 3-1 pitch to Rinhouse. It's low, ball 4. And there's the second walk that Sword has surrendered as Rinhouse is aboard as the leadoff runner.
Now batting for the Mustangs, right fielder from William and Mary, number 32, Lucas Carmichael.
Carmichael, another guy for the Mustangs who's been walked twice tonight. Plenty of guys have that on the box score.
And the one that I'm highlighting is the first pitch into Carmichael's low ball 1 is Rowan Watt with a 4 walk night. Just 1 official at bat on the night. 4 walks and a strikeout. That's what you call a CPL line of the night. A good eye. So Rinhouse is on first. The leadoff walk. Next pitch into Carmichael is right through the center of the zone. Strike 1. 1-1 on Carmichael. Sword looks back, now delivers the pitch. It's inside of Carmichael. It's 2-1. Sword looking for a ball on the ground at turn 2. 2-1 pitch to Carmichael. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Out ahead. On an off speed. 2-2 on Carmichael with Rinhouse on first base. 14-4 the HiToms lead in the bottom of the 7th. Need 3 outs without Martinsville bringing a run across to end the game in 7. The 2-2 pitch, it's outside. And it's a full count. A big pitch for Will Sword coming up. The full count pitch. Fouled off and into the netting, so Carmichael stays alive. As it's been a 6-pitch at-bat so far. 1 runner on, no outs. Bottom 7. HiToms have a 10-run lead. Another full count pitch. It's hit on the ground to Juan Correa. He's going to step over to the bag himself and just beat Carmichael to the bag. So advancing into scoring position is Rinhouse, but a softly hit ball to the first baseman Correa records the first out of the inning. And I think both teams will take that result.
Yeah, I think Juan Correa maybe underestimated Carmichael's speed there because he was flying out of the box. Carmichael kind of had to get on his horse a little.
Here is Bo Ruscher, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. That brought home the first run of the game for the Mustangs in the bottom of the 1st. Sword's first pitch in. Breaking ball is in for a strike. And Sword's looking at the best relief performance all year for the HiToms if he can complete this effort. HiToms have had some great starts, but not a relief appearance like this. 0-1 pitch. Outside corner, strike 2. And he's ahead 0-2 on Bo Ruscher. 1 out. Runner on second is Rinhouse. HiToms scored 4 in the top of the 7th. Here's the next pitch. Line down the first base line and foul. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, fouled off into the mitt of Davis, and he snags it for out number 2. And the HiToms are 1 out away from ending this game in 7 innings. Off the top of my head, I think the HiToms have only ended 1 game this year, and it was on a Kane Kepley home run.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Tommies this year, they've been run ruled a few times, but having on the other end of it, and it would be huge tonight with limited arms available in a game tomorrow.
It'll be limited the rest of the way, but certainly conserving some arms. As here's Ian Francis. First pitch into Francis. Fouled off down the first base line. And out of play. 0-1 on Francis, 2 outs. HiToms looking to secure a 10-run win in 7 innings. 14-4, the HiToms are winning 16-5, out-hitting the Mustangs. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Francis. It's dropped in for a strike on a fastball. And the Mustangs are down to their final strike. Will Sword has 4 innings so far, looking for the last a third against Francis. Takes a look at Rittenhouse. 0-2 pitch, lined. Fernandez is able to make the catch, diving to his left, and that is the game. The HiToms end this game in 7 after a 10-run victory, 14-4. One of the best wins the HiToms have had all season long. AJ, this was just an impressive performance from the HiToms.
Yeah, really a clinic all around. Gervais struggled a little bit with walks, but outside of that, he was able to get some strikes, and he got a lot of help from the fielding and the defense tonight from the HiToms. That was on point, and so too was the hitting. A lot of hard hitting we saw, and a lineup that also worked really well for the Tommies. And now they got to carry the momentum into the next game. That's one thing that has been this team's Achilles heel, is to string 2, 3, 4 wins together. They just haven't been able to do it this year. Now can they finally do it when results are going in their favor, and they were 2.5 games out of first going into this game with the victory, probably pushes them up even more. And the season is not all done yet for the HiToms.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a big win for the Tommies as they improved to 15-22 on the year and just 1 game under 500, 7-8. Mustangs fall to 15-21, 5-10 in the second half, and they are almost out of the race in the West Division. A big win for the HiToms here at Hooker Field in Martinsville, Virginia. HiToms win 14-4 in 7 innings. For my partner, AJ Myers, I'm Adam Oppenheim saying good night from Martinsville, Virginia and Hooker Field. HiToms win 14-4. You've been tuned into HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.